go over some of the issues with accuracy and the make of the gun, the good, the bad, everything about as honest as it possibly can be. So we're going to start right now with the box and move my handy dandy cat food prop can here. It is a pretty box. I've tried to take care of it. I've had it for a little while now. And when we open it up, my cat's been chewing on it. We have the wonderful S&T Remington 870 with real sound effects. And obviously, I hope you think I'm only, not being serious there. Actually, it's one of my children's toy guns. That actually toy gun, my toy gun, is right here. This is the police sheriff model. Let me grab my little fancy prop can here. I'll hold it up. What you see in the front, of course, this did not come with the gun. This is a light and laser sight added onto it, but it's going over the features of the weapon, and it looks like a Remington 870, which is quite impressive. It looks very realistic, of course, except for the orange tip on the top. It does have real wood buttstock, a real wood grip, and metal receiver, metal barrel. It actually a lot of metal internals. It is really well made for the price that you get. They weren't kidding, you actually do get more than what you actually would pay for, and it's surprisingly inexpensive for what it is. It is quite accurate for what the gun. It's, even though it has no sights, which is one of the cons of the gun. It has no open sights, no rails, has nothing. It is very plain, which is why ultimately I did add on the bottom, you can see a fairly inexpensive little laser target sight, which has helped accuracy immensely. And I have some targets which I shot, different ranges and different BBs, which I'll go over in a little bit. Please don't get down. We don't need you right now. And I bought it originally because the materials that are made out of, it looks realistic. When I got it, I was actually quite impressed by the look, by the weight. It feels real. It is nice looking. It is actually fairly sturdy made for under $100 for a shotgun. The other pros is the range of the gun is actually probably between 40 and 45, 50 yards. No doubt be able to hit a target at that distance. I haven't been able to hit a actual paper target at that distance yet. This is going by just shooting it across a field and trailing the BB as far as it would go. Now, it's for its really nice look, for its accuracy. Of course, it actually does suffer without any sights. I do recommend getting a laser sight if possible. It has seriously increased the ability to actually hit the target. Or they do actually make rails that go on the top. You can put a red dot sight, a scope, something of that nature. It's actually pretty nice looking when it has the rail on it. It's just that they're a little more expensive. On the red dot, they'll pick up online on eBay. You have the red dot, the pressure switch, a regular switch, and I also got an extra pack of batteries. Overall, it cost me under $15. So it's quite effective, and it's really quick sight acquisition. Prop that back up if it wants to. That sounds better. The gun also comes with one magazine. It's kind of small. It says on the line 22 rounds. It's actually 20 rounds, and I can only really get to fit comfortably 19. And personally, I wouldn't recommend putting more than 18. The reason is I found you put a full 19 rounds in here. The first BB, for some reason, will go straight for about 30 feet and then veer way off. And then the second one, next 18, will actually shoot perfectly straight on target. So do recommend though getting much more of these if you do get to buy this. Another one you can get is this one here. Is the 40 round magazine. It fits quite perfectly in there. It's not made by S&T. It is an A&K, but it fits in there just fine. To load it though, I found that when you load it full, what you're going to have to do is it won't cock when you actually have it in there when it's full. So you have to cock the gun back, stick it in, then release. And it'll fit perfectly and work fine every time. And yes, I did make sure it was not loaded before I did that, so do not freak out or worry. I have much more experience with real guns before I ever got into airsoft. Now the other drawbacks is, yes, one of the advantages was that it is made stock and the grip made of real wood, but the wood that they used was a lower quality soft wood. So that will discourage you if you're interested, but it does scratch fairly easily. I do have already one dent up here at the tip when I hit something, but the design is no doubt, it is actually by all accounts, looks very true to life to an 870. I haven't measured it side by side yet. So you can likely be able to use real 870 parts. You can get a new stock if you want, a new grip, new rail on top, anything you want. It should be able to fit from a real 870, Remington 870 shotgun. So which makes it really advantage. You can add all sorts of folding stocks and everything else to the gun. The other disadvantage I mentioned earlier is the lack of sights, and one more is the hard cocking. This fires at around roughly 400 feet per second. So it's pretty hard cocking gun. You gotta get used to it. It takes a little effort, not something for younger people who don't have much forearm strength. To comfortably do it, I found you actually have to push forward while pulling back. It makes it a lot easier to use the weapon. I can see it makes a lot of noise too when it goes off. To replace the spring from a lighter spring, it's actually fairly easy. On the butt here, you got two screws to remove the pad, the butt pad, and there's a long hollow cavity. You need a long screwdriver, take a single screw out on the base here, it'll take the buttstock off, and in the back there is a key, you need an Allen key, a large one. You push it in, turn it, pull it out, and the spring will come right out. And you should be able to place the spring if you'd like to, or cut it down, make a lighter spring if you don't want such a high feet per second or a hard pull. I mentioned good attachments, some very useful ones. The light, which is helpful in inside areas, and the red dot, if you can see it going off. It has been immensely helpful when hitting a target. I've actually gotten to target practice in my own on my own property. I've actually taken it out to the field and hit, and even with no sights, it's been fairly good. You just have to trail your BBs one shot after the other. Eventually, you'll hit your target. Actually, I've been able to hit a guy laying underneath a derelict car, and the one sticking his head through a window. So it's accurate enough to do that. So it should definitely be accurate enough on the field. The advantage, though, of course, having a sighting system is you waste fewer BBs, and you're more likely to hit them on the first try instead of having to take multiple tries, which in the multiple tries you have more chance of getting hit by your opponent, which is not something you want to do. So what I'm going to do is actually going to show you some of the targets I've used and the different size of BBs for each one. And the first one I hit was, this was at 70 feet. You can see it clearly. I'm trying to make it so it's nice and level. This one here, if you can see the red were the .20s, purples were .23s, green were .25s. The .20s I would not recommend. As you can see, they kind of scatter all across. A lot of them went off the paper, up and around. There was very little control on them. Granted, to be fair, the hop-up was set for .23s and .25, so they were going to shoot higher at 70 feet, but they kind of went all over the place, so there was no consistency at all with the .20s. The .23s and the .25s were fairly consistent, so if you can get .23s, you'll do just fine and probably save yourself a few dollars in BB costs, because they generally are a little bit cheaper, and there's really no noticeable difference to make it worth your effort. Remember, this is also without any sights. This is out of the box as it was. Here's an example. This is one of the .25s, again at 70 feet, with no optics sights. We did have some that went off the paper. You don't see here. They kind of curved a little. Part of that due again is to the full magazine, which tends them off. Other times it's just what it was. It's hard to shoot without sights sometimes. .23s, so there's not too much between .25s again and the .23s. They're fairly close enough to each other. Again, we had several that went off the paper you don't see, but they're pretty good even without. Actually, you notice it's still pretty good without any kind of sighting system on it. Here is actually the one after I added the laser sight. Which about that is that you can see, yeah, there's a few on the edges here, but there were none off of the paper. They all hit here. So the laser sight improved it immensely as far as the accuracy. If this was a center mash hit here, they all would have been hits. The head, yeah, you would have a few that would have missed, but if hitting the body, center mass, they would have hit. It would hit perfectly fine, and you would have got your target. That's with the laser sight. So it's worth investing a few extra bucks in that. Now, one of the big things I've read online when considering the gun was people saying, well, what good is a single shot shotgun? You want multi-shots, or one of the most ridiculous statements was you want your shotgun to be inaccurate. I don't know anybody who wants any gun to be inaccurate. There's obviously people who have not had experience using real weapons. A little background of actually, before I ever got into doing airsoft hobby, I was a historical reenactor for 19 years, and I also spent a lot of time shooting real live weapons. So I have a different perspective of the usefulness and the abilities of weapons than just airsoft guns. So the idea that you don't want a single shot shotgun is bull. There's such a thing called slugs. Okay, not all shotguns shoot shot, and a single shot shotgun has an advantage over longer ranges. Show you the type of accuracy it would have is with the slug. I've actually seen people at ranges have no problem hitting targets at 100 yards with a slug and a shotgun. So they do have their usefulness, and slugs are very useful against things like body armor or large targets. So yes, you do have shotguns that shoot more than just scatter shot, than just shot itself. The other thing is that you want it to be inaccurate. Sorry if you can see my little fingers going like that, which is also bold because no one buys a gun to be inaccurate. The military and the police don't buy shotguns to be inaccurate. Even with shot, they actually are fairly accurate, upwards of close to about 50 yards. And all the purpose of the shot is not to be inaccurate, it's to do a maximum amount of damage with a single shot on one or multiple targets. So the shot will generally go in one direction depending on the choke on the gun. The tighter the choke, the later the shot pattern will split. But the purpose is to do as much damage, that's purpose shotgun, as possible within one shot. So you don't want a gun that's inaccurate. What kind of gun would you have? You go to an airsoft team, just airsoft game, and you're like, hey, I got this gun because it's inaccurate. So I aim at somebody, I miss. Okay, I mean, what do you say to that? What good is that? It's kind of a ludicrous idea. So, and I will actually cover the tri-shot. Another one, I do own one of them. Yes, they're fun guns, but they're not really good for if you want something for an accuracy. They're fun for doing inside. They're fun for an occasional player. They're fun for a backup weapon or a primary for someone who doesn't, just as a casual player or a backyard player, but not something if you really want to make an effort and try hard. If you're a shotgun fan like I am, and I'll explain why I'm a shotgun fan in likely the next video, since this one's gone fairly long enough. But here I actually have, and I'll show you a difference. This here is a tri-shot target at 60 feet. This is this one at 70 feet. This one with the laser. I can tell you, I've actually fired 2 full magazines out of the tri-shot at 60 feet, and you can see that that's about 60 BBs, and I got 7 hits. Okay, this was a hit almost every time. So if you want something that's actually going to hit your target with a single shot and do well, that's cost effective. This isn't much more costly than the tri-shot. I think it was about $80 on sale right now. And they're not much more expensive than that. This is the way to go. It's also fairly upgradable. Unlike tri-shots, you can do all sorts of stuff with this. I mean, I mentioned change the stocks, change the grip, put a rail on it, put the optics on the top. You can put lasers and lights very easily on this. You can also fix the internals if they're broken. It opens up, it's fully accessible. So it's really neat. Actually, I'll flip the other side. They even have printing on the other side to give it a more realistic look. Model 870 Super Magnum 12 gauge, shows the size of the shells. They did really good with that. So it looks fairly nice. Though this ejection port is not functional. It is there just for looks. And only thing I recommend when you take it apart, you got to take this long screw out of the butt, and then you have to remove the pin and the 2 screws here above the trigger guard. And there is a little spring in the side here, so just be very careful. That can pop out very easily. So make sure you do someplace where you can't lose that. And with that being said, hope you enjoyed watching. Hope we gave you some good information. We consider getting it or not. And I hope to see you out there and play with you on the field. And hopefully my little gun, cat fan food gun here, will hold up well. And I'll see you again soon.